All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, great. Thank you all. Sometimes. we get something. Okay, we had this on our agenda last month. However, we kind of saved it for today since you were all able to come. That's really wonderful. So thank you for that opportunity. And Brandon, why don't you join me over here when I opportunity to read this? This is Brandon's letter. Yeah, you're gonna say a few words when we're done, right? Mom's gonna say it.
Let your brother say.
He's here.
He's moral support.
He's the support guy. Our proclamation, Epilepsy Awareness Month. Whereas epilepsy is a neurological condition sometimes referred to as a seizure disorder and is characterized by recurring seizures, and whereas 1 in 26 people will develop epilepsy in their lifetime, and whereas up to 50,000 Americans die each year from seizures and related causes, including sudden unexplained death in epilepsy, and whereas the Epilepsy Foundation of Eastern Pennsylvania leads the fight to stop seizures, find a cure, and overcome the challenges created by epilepsy, and whereas state funding in Pennsylvania currently supports Epilepsy Foundation programs that provide technical assistance, training, and support to Pennsylvanians, school nurses, teachers, and students on seizure recognition and first aid, and whereas state funding in Pennsylvania currently supports Epilepsy Foundation programs that provide patient education, public awareness, information, and referral services for children and their families living with seizures in our state. And whereas the Epilepsy Foundation Eastern Pennsylvania is celebrating 50 years of service and dedication to Pennsylvania communities. And whereas the prevention and control of epilepsy can be achieved through continued community education and awareness programs. And whereas the epilepsy community recognizes November as Epilepsy Awareness Month to promote epilepsy awareness and education throughout the world, now therefore be it resolved that Monroe County designates November 2022 as Epilepsy Awareness Month in dedication to you. Great. Okay. Mom, you want to come up? Hear a few words here.
I do have a cheat sheet, I'm sorry, it's not memorized. Hello, Mrs. Lavender and fellow council members. My name is Virginia Sutter. I am here with my son Brandon, my husband Doug, and my other son Owen. On behalf of the Epilepsy Foundation of Eastern PA, we would like to thank you for recognizing November as Epilepsy Awareness Month. It is estimated that more than 1,700 people in Monroe County alone are currently living with an epilepsy diagnosis. Brandon's one of them. He was diagnosed when he was 4 years old with Dew syndrome. As members of the community, it is very meaningful to us that Monroe County is publicly recognizing epilepsy. There is a lack of awareness and understanding about epilepsy, and this proclamation today is a step toward our goal of bringing epilepsy out of the shadows and erasing the stigma so that people who have seizures don't feel ashamed or afraid to talk about it. I'm happy to report that Brayden has been seizure-free for 4.5 years. Thank you again.
Thank you for coming, Brandon. Thanks for having us. And I'd like to introduce Ellen Backa. And you are the,
I'm the coordinator for the Epilepsy Foundation. So I serve the Monroe County and other counties.
oh, outstanding, because you do across the state.
We do Eastern Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So, so if anyone has a family member or in need of any assistance or someone with epilepsy, like she said, there's like 1,700 people in just Monroe alone. So it's quite common. So just give me a call. We'll do training.
She trains them. She trained his daycare. She trained his school. She did a presentation to his grade in kindergarten so that they would understand what it would be like if he had a seizure in class and what to do and how to approach that for 5-year-olds. That's scary, you know. She's fantastic.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Sutter, just one question, or maybe it's for both of you, but for a long time, somebody that was diagnosed with epilepsy or seizure disorder would not get a driver's license. Now there is a provision that if the person is seizure free for,
I believe it's 12 months in Pennsylvania. Every state is different. Oh, is it 6 months? Okay, there you go. See, Ellen knows that one. So thankfully, he's young enough and we have a long time to go till he gets his license that, fingers crossed. But we do have another family member in our family who has epilepsy who is not able to drive right now because of that. He had a seizure and for safety, obviously have to take his license until he can get the seizures under control and hopefully be able to get his license back at some point.
and just as a rough estimate of all the people that suffer from epilepsy seizure disorder, how many are controlled through medication, percentage wise?
About 65-70%. So just another little stat is 1 in 100 people, residents, 1 in 100 people of all ages have epilepsy. So it's really common.
Right.
Very
So Braden's form of epilepsy is called Douche syndrome. He actually gets 4 different types of seizures. A lot of people don't know that there's many different types of seizures that are out there that present themselves differently.
I assume Braden's were Grand Mall.
That was one of them, yeah. He used to drop seizures where he would just be walking along and fall for no reason. And then absent seizure where he just stares off and it looks like he's just not paying attention.
Yeah.
And then these other little ones where just part of his body would kind of spaz out, like jerk out. They call those myoclonic seizures. So but Braden's 4.5 years without any, and he's actually a year off of medications. He's not even medicated anymore. He's
Oh,
been
that's
able,
fantastic.
yeah, he's been able to be off meds for a year.
Keep it up, bud.
Yeah. Thank
I'm
you
sure
all.
you will.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much for coming. And,
We appreciate you.
the kids have to sign off, go back to school now, so.
I've been writing a note for the.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Means
so
a lot
much.
to us. It really does.
Moving on to new business. The personnel. Do I hear a motion to approve the actions listed in number 1, items A and B, personnel?
So moved.
I'll second.
We have first and second. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, seen, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Number 2. Do I hear a motion to approve the actions listed in number 2, electronic financial transactions ratify, items A through C?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
The first and second. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on to number 3, travel authorizations, combination approving and ratify. Your motion to approve the actions listed in number 3, item A.
So moved.
Second.
First and second, any questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 4, Monroe County Area Agency on Aging. Do I hear a motion to approve the actions listed in number 4, items A and B?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so we have a first, we have a second. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Number 5, Monroe County Children and Youth Services. Do I hear a motion to approve the actions listed in number 5, items A and B?
So moved.
I'll second.
First, second, any discussion?
I'd just like to make sure that everybody knows that November is National Adoption Month. We will be celebrating.
Yeah, we will see a banner and whatnot. being put up soon. Okay. We have first and second, after discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 6. Commissioner's Office. Motion to approve the actions listed in number 6 under the Commissioner's Office, items A through N.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I just, not that it's going to think, make the county sink or swim, but in item H, the agreement with Hartzell's Auction Gallery. As all of you know, the courthouse is being renovated and, that's a 70 million plus expenditure. But as part of that, one of the rooms over there is filled pretty much floor to ceiling with barrister bookcases, which are the old style bookcases that you lift the front of it and pull it up. And it was used for storing law books back in the day when they used law books. Well, those are now excess, and the county is going to auction them off to whoever is the high bidder. You don't have to take all of them, but if you know anybody that would be interested, I have a set at home, not from the courthouse, but if you know of anybody that's interested, there will be an opportunity, I believe, Greg, in February.
We're looking at early February. It'll be online.
It'll be an online, you can come in, take a look at, I want section 17, and you can bid on section 17. If you're the high bidder, you have so much time to remove them and get them out of there. They're beautiful examples of the way courthouses used to be furnished. And it's just good to have all of the citizens of Monroe County have the opportunity to take home a piece of history.
Glass front.
Glass fronts,
Glass
and
front.
some of them are 6 and 7 sections high, which is unusually high for a set of those kinds of bookcases, for what it's worth.
Are they online? Are there photos online?
There will be.
We'll get more information out when we post.
As it gets closer. Right.
I'd also like to point out, G, we are doing electrical repairs at the burn building at the Public Safety Center. That burn building has been in place for quite a while, back when John and I fought fires. We participate in trainings there. That's a complete renovation of the electrical system in that burn building.
Okay, any other further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Moving on to number 7. Monroe County Correctional Facility. Do I hear a motion to approve the action listed in number 7, item A?
So moved.
Second.
First and second, any discussion?
Yes, it's important to point out that we're replacing, at least for a year, the food service that we presently have at the correctional facility, not out of dissatisfaction necessarily with quality, but out of dissatisfaction with the way that they are choosing to bill us. We received notice 2 or 3 months ago that we've been paying the wrong amount for some 3 or 4 years, and the company believes that they should be able to charge us an additional amount, which would increase each meal price by something in the neighborhood of $1.50 or $2, which is clearly, after looking at it legally, not the case. So in lieu of just laying down and saying, okay, continue to bill us or bill us at the increased rate, we asked Aramark to come in, who also provides food service at other correctional facilities, to provide us with a quote. Fortunately, it's less than the quote from the current provider, but unfortunately, it's still more than we're paying now. And I guess this is an example of what we anticipate seeing in all the bids that we're expecting to receive over the next few months. All of our bidding for all services at the jail and other places, fuel oil, office supplies, et cetera, is done once a year. And then heretofore, it was a firm fixed contract. You agree to provide copier paper at X number of dollars per box for the entire year. What we think we're going to see is a pulling back from that, with companies saying, we can't estimate what our price is going to be for a full year. And if we gave you a full year price, it would have to be exorbitantly high to cover the increases that we anticipate getting. So it isn't, we're not surprised that the current provider came back and wanted more money. We were surprised with the magnitude of the increase as well as the fact that we were accused of underpaying them according to the contract for a period of years. But that's what's behind the change to Aramark. We took Aramark on for a one-year period only because from the time the current provider gave us notice until January, when the contract was going to be over, it didn't provide us with enough time to put bids together to go out to bid. So Aramark is in for a year, but during this next year, we will provide bid specifications and go out to Aramark, our current provider, and anybody else that provides food service as a way of trying to get food service at the correctional facility. That's a long-winded way of explaining that particular motion.
So are you still obligated to pay them back?
No,
Okay.
no.
No, we're moving forward.
Would not surprise me that they didn't, if they went forward and tried to collect, but we're pretty certain that that won't be the case.
Any other discussion? Seeing all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Number 8, capital outlay purchases. Do I hear a motion to approve the actions listed in number 8, item A?
So moved.
I'll second.
First, any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? And number 9, computer capital purchases. Do I hear a motion to approve the actions listed in number 9, item A?
So moved.
I'll second.
First and second, any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any miscellaneous?
I have none.
I have none.
Any public comment?
I have
Oh, all right, so
very brief. I'm sure you're all aware, but I just want to say it for the record. To note a sad historical event in Monroe County history, and that's asking Tom Joyce.
oh, yes, thank
At
you.
age 96, 24 years, I think, of public service. I knew him quite well. In fact, he was on the Board of Commissioners when I first started here. So, but he was a colorful figure. Greg and I probably could share some stories with you, but not in the kind of company we have now.
Oh, the children left.
One year, when Monroe County was considering building an incinerator, which they didn't do, the company that was sort of one of the leading companies in the world in incinerator plants was from France. And they flew what was then the General Authority board members, one commissioner, which was Commissioner Joyce, myself, to France. And Tom was my roommate. He had some interesting tattoos. He was a Navy veteran from the South Pacific. He had a really interesting wife. She didn't say a whole lot, but she just had a great smile and a great look about her. He was, up until about, I was telling Greg, up until about 3 years ago, I used to talk to him every year. He would answer the phone, and I was just surprised that he answered the phone. He was live. He was well. He was sharp until then. I guess I lost touch 3 years ago. But I saw that he died. And, that was 35 years ago, I think, when I started here with him. And perhaps Sharon, 35 years from now, when we're both dead and gone, or perhaps that's when you'll die 35 years from now. Somebody will give a speech like this about Sharon Lavin. But he was fun to be around. I think that the most humorous thing about Tom was he tried to use big words sometimes. They were the wrong words, and it was fun. But
He was nice to everybody.
He was nice to everybody.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Also, the passing of Carol Dawson, the district attorney's office, is a sad moment for us here. Carol's getting ready to retire and unfortunately came down with an illness and passed away. She was the office manager for the DA's office for quite a while,
20.
and she'd be sorely missed.
You know, under the circumstance, let's have a moment of silence in honor of our people that we have done. Thank you for that. Is there any other public comment?
Whoever contributed $1 to your trip to France.
Motion to adjourn before we can vote on that.
All right. We do have, it's not an official meeting. There is an election board gathering at 10:30.
Informational only.
Informational only. If anyone has questions.